to Christ, the Way, the Truth, and the Light, Dedication, Part 4. 12:48 p.m. Still 22 degrees. Hasn't changed none. We're still on the 21st of February, and it's still the year 2013, as far as I know. Oh, what a complacency hath the great soul in the contrivance of infinite wisdom, wherein the mystery of grace of God is so displayed that nothing appeareth from the lowest foundation stone to the uppermost copestone, but grace, free grace, making up all the materials, and free grace with infinite wisdom cementing all. The gracious soul can be warm under no other covering but what is made of that web, wherein grace and only grace is both woofed, W-O-O-F-T, woofed, and wrapped. And the reason is manifest. For such an one hath the clearest sight and discovery of his own condition, and seeth that nothing suiteth him and his case but free grace. Nothing can make up his wants but free grace. Nothing can cover his disformities but free grace. Nothing can help his weakness, shortcomings, faintings, sins, and miscarriages but free grace. Therefore, is free grace all his salvation and all his desire? It is his glory to be free grace's debtor forevermore. The crown of glory will have a far more exceeding and external weight, and being hyperbolic and external weight, and yet easily carried and worn, when he seeth how free grace and love hath lined it, and free grace and free love sets it on and keeps it on forever. This makes the glorified saint wear it with ease, by casting it down at the feet of the gracious and loving purchaser and bestower. His exaltation is the saint's glory, and by free grace the saint's receiving and holding all of free grace. Is he exalted? Oh, what a glory is it to the saint to set the crown of glorious free grace with his own hands on the head of such a Savior, and say, not unto me, but unto thee, even unto thee alone, be the glory forever and ever. With what delight, satisfaction, and compliancy will the glorified saint, upon this account, sing the redeemed and ransomed their song. And if the result and effect of free grace will give such a sweet sound there, and make the glorified heaven, in some respects, another thing, or at least, in some respect, a more excellent heaven than Adam's heaven would have been, for Adam could not have sung the song of the redeemed. Adam's heaven would not have been the purchase of the blood of God, nor would Adam have sitten with Christ's Redeemer on his throne, nor would there have been in his heaven such rich hangings of free grace, nor such mansions prepared by that gracious and loving husband, Christ, who will come and bring his bought bride home with him. Seeing I have heaven, even upon the account of free grace, will have such a special, lovely, desirable, and glorious luster. Oh, thou should grace be prized by us now. How should the gospel of the grace of God be prized by us? What an antipathy to glory, as now prepared and dressed up for sinful man, must they shew, whose whole wits and parts are busied to darken the glory of that grace which God would have shining in the gospel, and who are at so much pains and labors to dress up another gospel, though the apostles have told us, Galatians 1:7, that there is not another, wherein gospel grace must stand by, and law grace take the throne, so man may sacrifice this his own net, and burn incense to his own drag, and may, at most, be grace's debtor in part. And yet, no way may the saved man account himself more grace's debtor than the man who willfully destroyed himself, not performing of the conditions. For grace, as the new gospelers, or rather gospel spillers, say, did equally to both frames the conditions, make known to the contrivance, and tender the conditional peace and salvation. But as to the difference betwixt Paul and Judas, it was Paul that made himself to differ, and not the free grace of God determining the heart of Paul. By grace to a closing with and accepting of the bargain. It was not grace that wrought in him both to will and to do. It was he, and not the grace of God in him. What is more contradictory in the gospel of grace of God, and yet vain man will not condescend to the free grace of God. Let me check time-wise. Where am I at? Okay, a little bit more. Paganism and Arianism needed not put a man to much study into the reading of many books to the end it may be learned, though the patrons hereof labor hot in the very fires, to make their notions hang together, and to give them such a lustre of unsanctified and corrupt reasons as may be taking with such as know no other conduct in the matters of God. For naturally we are all born pagans and Armins. These tenets are deeply engraven in the hearts of every son of fallen Adam. What serious servants of God findeth not this, is in dealing with souls whom he is laboring to bring into the way of the gospel. Yet what Christian is there who hath acquaintance with his own heart, and is observing its biases and corrupt inclination, that is not made to cry out, O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from these dregs of paganism, Armanism, and Jesuitism, which I find yet within my soul? Hence it may seem no wonder or strange thing, though after so much clear light it may be astonishing to think that now, in this age, so many are so openly and avowedly appearing for this dangerous and deadly error. To us, to hear and see this infection spreading and gaining ground so fast, there needed few arguments or motives to work up carnal hearts to an embracing thereof, and to a cheerful quenching thereof. Little labor will make a spark of fire work upon gunpowder, and methink, if nothing else will, this one thing should convince us all of the error of this. The nature so quickly and readily complieth therewith. For who that hath an eye upon or regard of such things seeth not what a world of carnal reasoning, objections, prejudice, and scruples natural men have in readiness against the gospel of Christ, and with what satisfaction, peace, and deglet they reason and plead themselves out of the very reach of free grace, and what work there is to get a poor soul, in any measure weakened and convinced of its lost condition, wrought up to a compliance with the gospel way of salvation. How many other design, projects, and essays doth it follow, with the peace of natural vehemency and seriousness, without weary, were it even to the wasting of its body and spirits, let be its substance and riches, before it be brought to a closing with the crucified mediator, and to an accounting of all its former workings, attainments, and painful laborings and gain, as lost for Christ, and for the excellency of the knowledge of Christ, and as dung that it may win Christ, and be found in him, not having its own righteousness, which is of the law, but that which is through the faith of Christ, the righteousness which is of God by faith. Philippians chapter 3, 7 through 9. And I will end it right there for this one. And this is part 4. Part 4. The end of part 4. Christ, the way, the truth, and the light. Dedication, part 4. And I shall return, my brothers and sisters. Peace be with you.